Okay guys, we're back for another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the recent comments made by David Benavidez saying that he wants to go up another weight division, up to Cruiserweight, and fight Artur Beterbiev for the Cruiserweight world title. Now, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about each guy. I would go into crazy depth, but to be honest, there isn't much depth to go into because David Benavidez should not go up to Cruiserweight, right? David Benavidez is a monster at 168. He's shown still able to hang with the guys at 175. He beat David Morrell, but David Morrell was a very competitive fight. David Benavidez v David Morrell was a very competitive fight, and goes to show that the sort of destructive power that David Benavidez had at 168, he may not necessarily have at 175. Now, if you've not got that at 175, chances are you're probably not going to have that at 200 pounds. Right? And David Benavidez is a pressure fighter. He throws combinations. He's a brilliant fighter to watch. But Artur Beterbiev he's built different, bro. And, when you're fighting him, he's already got so many advantages over the people he fights. Artur Beterbiev, I'm talking about. You're just going to give him another advantage by David Benavidez being the smaller guy in there. And now David Benavidez, again, he's hit guys at 168, hit guys at 175. He's been hit by these guys too, but he's never been hit by a guy like Artur Beterbiev. Without a shadow of a doubt. He's never been hit with someone that bangs like Artur Beterbiev. So I don't fancy David Benavidez to actually do that. Although I completely appreciate, as a boxing fan, someone like David Benavidez, who's now a two-weight world champion. He wants to be great. He dares to be great. That's really what I respect from him, where he's a guy who wants to, be in the record books, similar to a Canelo. Keep going up weight classes. Why keep going up weight classes? Keep trying to achieve that greatness. Keep trying to win world titles at different weight classes, because that's what the legends of yesteryear did. They fought fights where guys didn't see them having a path to victory, but they fought them anyway, and in a lot of cases, these guys won. The problem is, I think, with a lot of boxing fan base and boxing media is where, you lose a fight, you're washed. Not in my opinion. Not in my opinion, because I know the sport, I know boxing, I know the business of boxing, I know what it takes to get in there. I know what it takes to get in there I don't know what it takes to get in there, but I respect what it takes to get in there. I respect what it takes to get in there for a regular fight, for a world title fight, for a 12-rounder, for a pay-per-view main event. Right? A lot of people don't appreciate that. And David Benavidez is a monstrous puncher, like I said, at 168. Not as monstrous at 175. And, you keep going up, weight classes. You go to 200 pounds. That's a 25 pound weight increase. Against a guy like Artur Beterbiev, who's cutting to make 200 pounds. David Benavidez probably walks around at around 200 pounds. Now that he's at 175. That being said, David Benavidez isn't a small dude. He's a bit skinny, but he's like, I don't know how tall he is. I haven't got his height in front of me, but you can tell at 168 he was tall. And even at 175, he's somewhat tall. Not as meaty, not as muscular as the other 175ers, but tall, right? And Artur Beterbiev, he's the boogeyman. He's just coming off a win. I think he's got another fight booked soon. A unification bout against Zurdo Ramirez. I don't think that's been booked. I don't think that's confirmed. But Artur Beterbiev, he's the man in the heavyweight, in the cruiserweight division at the moment. He's the man. And out of all world champions, he's the guy to beat. At cruiserweight, you've got Badou Jack, who's WBC champion, but he's old. To be honest, that's why, I fancy David Benavidez against a Badou Jack. Badou Jack's a guy who I'm pretty sure at one point, like David Benavidez, was at 168, then went up to 175, and then went up to cruiserweight, and I think he was world champion at each weight division. So to be fair, it can be done. It can be done, through the right matchmaking, through, the right politics. It can be done. You can be... David Benavidez is definitely a good enough boxer to be a three-weight world champion. David Benavidez is a better boxer than Badou Jack. And Badou Jack, I believe, is the three-weight world champion. Right? So, with the right matchmaking, David Benavidez could be a three-weight world champion, but I don't fancy David Benavidez to fight and beat Artur Beterbiev. But, look, it's boxing, and crazy things have happened, and David Benavidez, he's always in there with the puncher's chance. You can't count him out, because he's never lost. everyone he's faced, he's found a way to beat them. Right? So David Benavidez has always got a chance, but I don't fancy him to fight Jai. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of Jai's recent win. And if you think following that recent win, David Benavidez could go up to Cruiserweight and could fight for the title and could win. I'd be curious to know what you guys think. But yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.